The house at the end of Marrow Lane had been empty for 11 years. Everyone in town knew that. The Hollisters vanished on a Sunday evening in October, right in the middle of dinner. The table was still set when the sheriff finally went inside. 4 plates, 4 glasses of milk, 4 chairs pushed back from the table, like everyone had stood up at the same moment for the same reason and simply walked out of the world. No bodies, no note, no car missing from the garage. The county searched the woods behind the property for 9 days and found nothing but an old well with the cover nailed shut from the inside. People stopped talking about that detail pretty quickly. It's the kind of thing a town agrees to forget, the way you agree not to look at the sun. I grew up 2 streets over, on Carver. Every kid I knew had a rule about the Hollister house, and none of us could remember being taught it. You could cut through the yard in daylight. You could throw rocks at the gutters, even. But you did not look at the windows after dark. Not because something might be there, because it might notice you checking. I moved away at 18, the way you flee a place you love. And I probably would have stayed gone forever, but this March my father died, and somebody had to come back and empty his house. Grief makes you do orderly things. You sort a dead man's socks. You cancel his newspaper. You sleep in your childhood bedroom with your feet hanging off the end of the bed, and you tell yourself it's only for a few weeks. It was my second night back when I saw it. I'd gotten up at 3 in the morning for a glass of water, and from the kitchen window, through the bare trees, I could see straight down Marrow Lane. The Hollister house was lit up like a holiday. Every window, warm, yellow, occupied light. The kind of light that means a family is home. I stood there with the tap running until the glass overflowed into my sleeve. Then the lights went out. All at once. Not room by room, the way a person moves through a house turning off switches. All at once, like a house holding its breath. Apparently the kind of idiot who asks around. The woman at the gas station stopped scanning my items when I mentioned it. The man at the hardware store said, quietly, that the lights had been coming on at 3 in the morning. At exactly 3 in the morning. I asked him who was paying the electric bill on an abandoned house. He looked at me for a long moment and said, "Son, that house was never wired for electric." And then he gave me my change and wished me a good day in a voice that meant leave. You already know I went. Be honest with yourself. If you had grown up on that street with that rule, and the house started performing for you like that, you would have gone too. We tell ourselves we'd walk away, and yet every one of us dies knowing our own name. Curiosity is just hunger wearing better clothes. I waited until 2:45 and walked down Marrow Lane with a flashlight I never turned on. The moon did something strange over that house. It sat directly above the roof like it had been nailed there, and the fog kept its distance from the property line, pooling at the edges of the yard the way water pools around a drain. At 3 o'clock exactly, the windows lit. I was close enough to hear it happen. That's the part I can't make anyone understand. Light isn't supposed to make a sound, but this did. It sounded like a dinner party. Silverware. Chairs. A woman laughing at something, and then the laugh stopping too cleanly, like a tape being cut. I stood on that porch for I don't know how long. The doormat said welcome in letters worn down to ghosts. And through the door, faint and warm, I could smell a roast. Rosemary. Onions. My mother used to make it on Sundays, that exact smell. And that's what got my hand moving toward the wood when nothing else on this earth could have. I knocked. The sound stopped. All of them at once, the way the lights had gone out the night before. And I heard footsteps come down a hallway I knew was rotted through, because I had seen the collapsed floor through the back windows years ago. Slow steps. Unhurried. The steps of someone who has been expecting you, who set a place for you, who is a little disappointed you're late. The door opened, and the smell of dinner rolled over me, and standing in the doorway was my father. Dead in March. Buried in the suit my sister picked. Standing there in his Sunday cardigan with his glasses pushed up on his forehead, and he smiled at me with such easy, ordinary warmth that for one full second the world made sense, and that second nearly killed me. "Come in," he said. "Your mother's kept it warm." And behind him, I could see the dining room, the long table, plates set, glasses of milk, and people seated all around it, more people than the room could hold, dozens of them, and every single one of them turned to look the way the lights had come on. All at once. I don't remember running. That's the truth. I remember the door, and then I remember my own kitchen, and my own hands shaking on the counter, and the clock on the stove saying 4:11. I locked the doors. I laughed at myself a little, even the way you do when the adrenaline drains out and you get to feel foolish and alive at the same time. I'm writing this at my father's kitchen table because I can't sleep, and I want a record of it somewhere outside my own head. The house on Marrow Lane is dark tonight. I've been checking every few minutes, and it stayed dark, and that should be a comfort. It is not a comfort, because it's 3:05 in the morning now, and the lights that just came on, all at once, without a sound, are mine. This was entry 1 of the PhantomLane Files. There are more. Subscribe. The next one is worse.